Consul Generals, Vice Chair, Senior Officers, Co-Chairs, Consultative Committee, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be here today. You know, these meetings are important. A long time before, when I first joined, when we tried to figure out what was important to serve our communities, we would sit down in a room and we would figure out what we thought was best to serve our communities. And over time we realized that the important ingredient that was always missing was working with the community and talking with the community and finding out from the community, what do you feel we should be doing and how we should be doing it and why we should be doing it. And so each and every time that I come to these types of meetings, I always get to leave with something new that I get to bring back to the rest of the men and women of the Toronto Police Service. And I can tell you that, you know, this is definitely the most multicultural city in the world. And I say that because I have an opportunity of traveling a lot. And when I travel a lot, I get to realize exactly how much diversity is missing from all the other cities. And yet here, we have an opportunity to learn to live together and to work together and to play together. And we do it so well. And the key to that is because we have the opportunity of talking to one another across the table and learning from one another. And that's what makes Canada so fantastic. The fact that many cultures have said, you know what, I'm going to come to this place to live and to stay and to raise a family and to grow and to develop, says a lot about what Canada is. And so it is because of you that we as a country are successful. It is because of you that we are the envy of so many other countries around the world. And so as we continue to improve, the important thing is that we have these opportunities, these moments, where we can share a lot of things together so that we can figure out what can we do to improve safety in this city? What can we do to make the next generation have a better opportunity to make the city even better than it is today? And so I look forward to listening to you, to hearing from you, to see what questions you may have, to see what we can do to improve as a police service as we move forward on a day-to-day process. So I know it's a Saturday morning, and I know that we have so many things that we could have done, and yet you decided to come here, which means you want to make this city a better city. And so for me, I thank you for being here, because without you, we would not be the successful city that we are. So without any further ado, I'm going to sit down and try not to trip. And and I did come here for the food, by the way. So, but I'm looking forward to a great conversation, a great dialogue with everybody here. So thank you so much. Well, we could start singing karaoke.
Okay. Well, we can do that too. We have a question.
Yeah.
Romy Marquez from our Filipino.
Yes. So far, what has been your biggest challenge since taking office?
Yeah, that's a fair question. Challenges that as an organization we're trying to work to resolve. But you know, it's funny how history is so cyclonic. When I joined in 1982, I can tell you what the three issues were. The three issues were, number one, budget. Number two, how we deal with racialized communities. And number three, how we deal with people living with mental illness. And so now I fast forward 33 plus years, and the three issues are exactly the same. Now, it's not to say that we haven't done anything in 33 years. We've done a lot, and we've improved on so many things. But we are always continuing to figure out how to make it better, how to improve upon the things and the lessons that we've learned from the men and women in the past. And so those three things collectively are a very big problem. But I can tell you that we've got a great board that we're working with to try to improve on those very three things each and every day. First, you know, I'm going to say this, and I keep saying this, and people get upset when I say this, but I will say this anyway. Toronto is by far the safest urban city in North America. It really, really is. When you compare our urban city to any of the other cities right across North America, we by far are the safest. But having said that, we do have some issues right now that we're looking at. We do have an increase of firearm activity that is going on, and there are more violent occurrences that we are trying to, that we are resolving. The men and women by no stretch are sitting on their hands. Every single day they're making countless arrests. They're putting a lot of people who are, I'd say, violent in nature. They're putting them in jail, and they're doing their job. But this is not just a Toronto problem, just so you know. So 3 times a year I meet with the major city chiefs in North America. And this conversation is had each and every time. We have noticed that right across North America, a lot of the urban cities have a spike in their violent crimes. And we're trying to figure out what we can do to resolve that. And when you follow history, there's this pendulum that keeps going back and forth, and it never stays in the middle for very long. It keeps moving one way, and then it moves back another way again. And right now, it is moving this way. But one of the things, and one of the keys to success, it's not just a matter of us making arrests. It's a matter of getting communities involved. And most people think that we just have one layer of policing, and we have many layers of policing. And so these town hall meetings become very important to us because it allows us to share the message. So, you know, our uniform officers, they're not just people that respond to radio calls. That's one segment of police. That's for the emergency response, and that's for law enforcement. We also have community officers, and those officers are officers that work with the community on a regular basis. And then we've got neighborhood officers, officers that are assigned to specific neighborhoods that stay in those small geographical areas every single day to develop stronger relationships. Now, here's where it's important for you to understand. A lot of times people feel that they're not going to call the police unless there is a problem. And, you know, that is part of it, but the bigger part is we need your eyes and ears to work with us on a daily basis. You know better what's going on in your neighborhoods than we do. And so when you make the phone calls to any one of our particular levels of policing, whether it's our community officers or whether it's our neighborhood officers, and you give us information on things that you see that aren't right, we have the ability of taking that information and then being there ahead of time. So when you see something, that's when it's important to call. I remember a couple of years ago, I spoke with a lady at a town hall meeting, and she said that she had got robbed. She got robbed of her iPhone. And she was on a bus, and she's watching, this person was watching her, and he was watching her just a little bit too hard. And so she was nervous, and then when she got to a bus stop, she got off. And he got off too, and then she started walking, and then when she turned the corner, he followed her all the way, and then eventually he robbed her. And she said, I didn't want to call the police until I was robbed. And so that saddened me, because that's not the way we're supposed to be doing things. If you have any concerns at any time, you make the phone call. And this gives us an opportunity to prevent crimes from happening. So people talk about, you know, people are drinking in parks or they're doing certain things. The more calls that we get, we're able to establish the location, we're able to establish the time patterns. Then our officers can go at those times and investigate in advance or be there in advance to discourage people from coming in. So it's really important that you make the phone calls not when crimes are happening, but if you think you see something that would help keep your community safer, it gives us an opportunity to help in advance. So those are things that I think are really critical for people to understand, and that's part of the factors that we need to get to you so that you can help us keeping our city even safer than it is right now.
That's great. Thank you, Chief.